Go around the room you will remodel, measuring the linear footage of wall to be framed with QuikStix and finished with drywall. Multiply the total length by 2 to account for the necessary top and bottom tracks. Each piece of QuikStix wall locking track is 10 feet long, so divide the total track footage by 10, then round up to the next full piece. This is the number of pieces of QuikStix wall locking track you need for the project. If you are using 1/2 inch thick drywall, you will need a QuikStix framing tee every 16 inches along the wall, just the same way you would configure a conventional 2x4 wood wall structure. To estimate the number of framing tees you'll need, take the total linear footage of wall and divide by 1.3, then add 1 framing tee for each corner. QuikStix uptight clips are installed at the midpoint of every other framing tee for additional rigidity. If your walls are more than 8 feet tall, you'll need 2 uptight clips at every other framing tee. You will also need number 7 7/16-inch sharp point framing screws to attach the uptight clips. You'll need to choose a method to attach the floor and ceiling tracks. More on that in a moment. Remember that windows, soffits, and other workaround features will require additional QuikStix framing tees and locking track. You'll need a drill driver, aviation snips, chalk line, ruler, pencil or marker, hammer, plumb bob, level, tape measure, and spring clamps and screws, plus fasteners to attach floor and ceiling tracks. Remember, safety is the highest priority when working on a do-it-yourself project. Quality work gloves and safety glasses are a must during this installation. Before you get started, check local building codes for direction on proper installation and permit requirements, and read installation instructions carefully every step of the way. Snap chalk lines on the floor and across the joists above to locate the inside faces of the wall track. Use a plumb bob or laser to check that the locking tracks line up plumb and vertical. Locate the tracks on the line, ensuring that the center of a framing tee will be 48 inches from the nearest corner, with the shorter leg facing toward the center of the room. Measure, cut, and locate the locking track for the top of the wall in the same manner. You can choose a variety of methods to secure the floor locking tracks, depending on what type of floor you have. For a concrete floor, you have a few options to choose from. They include using a power nailer designed for concrete screws, or concrete anchor bolts. Check with the Home Center for suggestions and necessary tools for the option you choose. For the ceiling locking track installation into wood joists, use sharp point screws of adequate length. Additional blocking may be required between the joists, especially when framing corners. For both the floor and ceiling locking tracks, be sure the shorter leg faces toward the center of the room. Ensure that the wall will be plumb and level. Start by securing the locking tracks every 24 inches, beginning 2 inches from each end. Butt additional sections of locking track end to end along the length of the wall, making sure that the factory ends butt together. Measure the inside dimension from the top locking track to the bottom locking track and subtract 1/4 inch. This is the proper length for your framing tee. Measure for each framing tee along the wall and cut to length from the top of the tee using snips. Make sure the flat section of the electrical knockout faces the bottom of the wall. You can cut and lay out all the framing tees before installation, or cut and install them individually as you work your way around the room. Locking details are located every 8 inches along the length of the locking track, so framing tees are installed in every other locking location for 16-inch on-center spacing. Place each framing tee into the locking track with the bottom of the tee to the left of the locking detail at the bottom and the top of the tee to the right of the locking detail overhead. Push the top of the framing tee to the left until it seats. Push the bottom of the framing tee to the right until it seats. You will hear a distinct click when each tee locks into place. If your design requires a framing tee to be placed along the locking track between locking details, secure the tee with framing screws. 2 framing tees should be placed into each corner to support the drywall. When you locate the second tee in the corner, you could move it away from the corner to allow for the thickness of the drywall being used. Space additional tees at 16-inch center from the corner tees. This way, one piece of drywall can slip into the space between the two walls, and the other piece of drywall will then butt up against the first piece. Install up-tight clips to every other framing tee. If your wall is less than 8 feet tall, you will need only one clip. If the wall is more than 8 feet tall, you will need 2 clips. Space the clips evenly, but no more than 4 feet from the top or bottom of the wall. Using 2 sharp-point framing screws, attach one leg of the uptight clip to the framing tee with the other leg against the permanent wall structure. If the clip is too long, use snips to cut it shorter. The clip can be secured to the structure, but it's not necessary. Now it's time to add electrical boxes to your framing system, install grommets, and run wiring through the knockouts, or make other preparations before installing the drywall to give your room the finished look you desire. Screw spacing and length should follow the board manufacturer's recommendation. Take time to carefully plan for your remodeling project for best results.